The strangest kind of loneliness. There is a kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being alone. It comes when you are surrounded by people but still feel empty inside. You laugh with them, you talk with them, you sit in the same room, and yet something feels missing. Something feels distant. And the most confusing part is this: you don't understand why. Because on the outside, everything looks normal, but on the inside, it feels like no one truly sees you.
Loneliness is not about people. Most people think loneliness means having no one around, but that's not true. You can be in a crowded room and still feel completely alone. Because loneliness is not about how many people you have, it's about how deeply you are connected. You can have hundreds of conversations and still feel unheard. You can have many friends and still feel unseen. Because what you're missing is not presence, it's understanding.
When no one really knows you. There is a difference between people knowing your name and people knowing who you are. Most conversations stay on the surface. How are you? I'm fine. What are you doing? Just working. Polite, normal, safe, but never deep, never real, never enough. And over time, you begin to feel like no one truly knows you. Not your thoughts, not your fears, not your quiet struggles. And when no one knows what's inside your heart, it starts to feel like you don't exist beyond the surface. You stopped sharing yourself. Sometimes, loneliness doesn't come from others, it comes from you. There was a time you tried to open up. You tried to share your thoughts, your feelings, your truth. But maybe you were ignored, misunderstood, or judged, and that hurt. So slowly, you stopped sharing. Not all at once, just a little less each time, until one day, you realized you haven't truly expressed yourself in a long time. And when you stop sharing yourself, you also stop being seen.
You are always okay. There is a silent habit that creates deep loneliness. Saying, "I'm okay," when you're not. Because it's easier. Easier than explaining. Easier than being vulnerable. Easier than risking being misunderstood. So you smile, you nod, you move on. And people believe you, because you told them to. But inside, there are things you never say, thoughts you never share, feelings you never express. And they build up, quietly, until they become distance between you and everyone else.
The world is loud, but connection is quiet. We live in a world full of noise, messages, notifications, endless conversations. But real connection is quiet. It takes time, attention, presence. And most people don't have that anymore. They are busy, distracted, always moving. So even when you talk, you don't feel heard. Even when you are together, you don't feel connected. Because connection cannot exist where attention is missing. Social media and the illusion of closeness. You see people every day. Their photos, their stories, their lives. You know what they ate, where they went, who they were with. And it feels like connection. But it's not. Because seeing someone's life is not the same as being part of it. And slowly, you begin to compare their happiness to your emptiness, their moments to your silence. And the more you compare, the more alone you feel. you lost connection with yourself. This is the part most people don't realize. Sometimes, the reason you feel lonely is not because of others. It's because you lost connection with yourself. You stopped listening to your own thoughts, stopped understanding your own feelings, stopped being present with yourself. And when you don't feel connected to who you are, no external connection will ever feel enough. Because loneliness is not always about missing people. Sometimes, it's about missing yourself.
You are surrounded, but not understood. There is a deep kind of pain that comes from this feeling. Being around people, but not being understood. You try to explain something important, but they don't get it. You try to express how you feel, but it gets dismissed. Not intentionally, but still, it hurts. Because understanding is what creates closeness. And without it, everything feels distant, even when people are right beside you. You crave depth in a shallow world. Some people don't feel lonely because they are alone. They feel lonely because they want something deeper, real conversations, meaningful connection, emotional honesty. But the world around them feels shallow. Fast conversations, quick replies, surface-level interactions. And when you crave depth but only receive surface, loneliness becomes inevitable.
You are tired of pretending. There is another quiet truth. Sometimes, you feel lonely because you are tired of pretending. Pretending to be okay, pretending to be strong, pretending to fit in. And when you pretend for too long, you lose the feeling of being real. And nothing feels more isolating than not being yourself, even when people are around.
A different way to understand loneliness. Maybe you are not lonely because you are alone. Maybe you are lonely because something inside you is waiting to be seen, waiting to be understood, waiting to be expressed. And maybe the first person who needs to understand you is you. Because when you start listening to yourself, when you start being honest with yourself, when you start accepting who you are, something changes. The emptiness softens, the silence becomes peaceful, and connection feels possible again. Not because the world changed, but because you did. So if you feel lonely today, don't rush to fill the silence. Sit with it, listen to it, understand it. Because sometimes loneliness is not a problem, it's a message. And if you hear it clearly, it might lead you back to yourself. Subscribe to Simple Life, where we don't just talk about life, we understand it, one quiet truth at a time.